Hey everybody, for this video we're going to be talking about jigsaws. So the jigsaw is the first of the reciprocating saws that we're going to talk about. In particular, I'm going to demonstrate this Bosch jigsaw. Bosch is kind of the company that really made the jigsaw. I'm not 100% sure who invented it first, but Bosch is one of the best known brands for the jigsaw. There's a ton of different varieties and nicer and worse and features that you can get in a jigsaw. This is kind of your general run-of-the-mill, and I'll walk you through some of the features. All right, so first we're going to talk about the blades of the jigsaw. So this is a standard T blade. So this gets you in focus. All right, you can see on this end, this little T shank right here. So this fits into the jigsaw, and then you've got different types of teeth. Actually find the camera and focus. How far back do I got to get to focus? There you go. So you can see the teeth. Typically, the wider the teeth, so the bigger the tooth is, the worse the cut, as well as the less dense material you can cut. Right? So big teeth are designed to cut through very porous materials quickly. The smaller the teeth, the more dense the material, and the better the cut. So this is a standard ripping, or this is a clean. So this particular blade's got medium-sized teeth. They're not big, they're not small. This is supposed to make a decent cut in wood. So we're going to add that into our jigsaw. So this particular tool has got a little release lever right here. You see the little red toggle thing that I'm trying to show you? So when there's not a blade in there, you don't have to do anything. You take your blade, you insert it into the collar there, and you push in. And the little collar, red collar, just locks it in place. All right, so this tool is going to reciprocate, meaning to go back and forth with this one. So you notice that the teeth point downward. So while I'm using this teeth, what that means is it's going to cut down, and it's going to just come back up. It only cuts on the down thrust, which means that our chip out, or the side of the cut that's going to look worse, is going to be on the bottom of the material. There isn't really a price difference between whether or not you want teeth going down or you want teeth going up. It's just something to pay attention to so that when you're using the tool, you know which side is supposed to be the good side, the audience-facing side. A couple other features. This is your trigger. Inside of this trigger, it's hard to show on the camera, but there is a speed dial, so you can make it go faster, you can make it go slower. This toggle switch right here, once it is on, I can push the toggle and it kind of locks the tool on so that I don't have to constantly squeeze the trigger to keep it going. And as soon as you squeeze the trigger again, it releases that stay on brake. You can change how the blade goes up and down, whether or not it kind of oscillates or not. And then if you ever needed to, you can change the angle of this base plate so you can cut a bevel into something if you needed to. For the most part, you're going to cut it 90 degrees, and if it goes off square, you want to fix it. But let's demonstrate, shall we? All right, so you're going to plug it in. Always important. And the rule always, before you cut anything, you want to test it, right? So before you put it on the board, you want to just rev the engine and make sure that it works. Can you see? If I scoot back a little bit, you'll be able to see. Okay, so when we are cutting something, you want to make sure that the jigsaw is off and against the board before you get it started. Also, you don't want the teeth of the blade against your wood when you get it up and running. So, put the tool on the piece of wood, turn it on, and slowly cut through it. So this was the top, this was the bottom, and you can kind of see that chip out that I was talking about. You see how this is a much cleaner edge than this bottom part? That's that chip out because the teeth were pointed down and it's cutting these and it's kind of exploding the bottom part where the top has been cut. One thing with jigsaws that I find is people tend to go either too fast or too slow. You want to let the tool dictate how fast you're supposed to be going because the thickness, the density of the wood, the sharpness of the blade will kind of tell you how fast you're going. If you're pushing it too much, it'll jump around all over the place. If you're going too slow, it just takes forever. Going slow isn't more dangerous, it's just boring. You do need to apply a certain amount of downward pressure to stop it from bouncing up and down. So if you're ever using a jigsaw and it's bouncing up and down, you need to slow down, put more downward pressure on it, and then keep going. Jigsaws are really nice for making curved cuts. They're not really the greatest at cutting something straight across. They're perfect for following the curve of a name, for instance, or a letter. They don't make the tightest curves. You can get smaller bits that will do tighter curves. But for the most part, jigsaws are really good for making curved cuts and not the greatest for making straight cuts. You can get longer bits, shorter bits, metal bits, plastic bits, right? Different things depending on what you want to cut. You can cut through metal with jigsaws. You want to change the type of blade depending on what you're cutting. So make sure that you're aware of what type of tool, what type of saw you have inside of your jigsaw to make sure that you're cutting the right material. All right. Thanks, everybody. Look forward to the next video.